Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party, my buddy Rhett, and we are coding. It is late. It is like 1:43 on a Saturday afternoon here in Marietta, Georgia. It is absolutely beautiful outside. I don't know what the temperature is, but I'm guessing it's like 76, 77 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just slightly above like sort of like it's a bit. I don't know what the So sometimes when you go outside, you just like, oh my gosh, the way the weather feels on my skin right now is absolutely amazing. I don't, you need sort of like that perfect humidity, perfect temperature, perfect amount of wind moving around, air motion, but then your body will just fit perfectly. And Rhett is wanting her nut. Let me give her that to her. It's a not quite perfect, but it's close. It's darn close. It's like you know, just like I don't know. I've lived in places where we never, ever, 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 ever had a day as perfect as like we get like 10 or now we probably get like 25 just beautiful, beautiful days here. Um, I have lived in places where you don't get any beautiful days, and I hear that in San Diego and some places that every single day, literally 365 days a year, is beautiful. Um, but like apparently just like the cost of living is just absolutely insane. So anyways, we are trying. Yesterday I didn't have the sound on, and it is very easy with these headphones. There's like a little button back there to turn off the sound, which is really nice, but the problem is that these headphones are so old that like once you click it, if you unclick it, it doesn't necessarily take. You have to just keep clicking and unclicking it. Eventually, it un it'll the um, microphone will work again. So I try not to click it because I'm assuming at some point I'll click it and it will be impossible to undo it. And I don't feel confident that I would be able to like tear these headphones apart and fix it. So I would probably just have to throw it away and buy another pair of headphones. And as you guys probably all know, um, or at least I don't know. I don't know what prices are like everywhere, but like here in the States, a nice set of headphones that will get you through um, this sort of thing would be like at the very least $75. They can go up to like $500, $400. So I'd rather make these last as long as I could possibly make them last. Right, so we have a bug. I mean, not a bug. We're trying to work on a new feature, and the new feature is to when we add our visualization and we go into our view, this view, I want to be able to resize it and that it just automatically updates. And I would say 9 out of 10 times that side of thing is kind of handled kind of the way this is. Um, just that general problem is generally, see if you notice when I expand thought, you see how this sort of just automatically just sort of takes care of itself. Um, and that's generally like kind of rolled up in a bunch of CSS rules and things like that. And many times you'll use like a style sheet, some kind of styling scheme um, to to accomplish that. And that's nine times out of 10 the best way to do it. Like you'll never ever get everything worked out the way they have it, the way they figured it out. I would say that 99 times out of 100, that's how it's done. And I would say it should be done 9 out of 10 times. So if you look at 100 implementations, there's probably 9 of them that used the styles that shouldn't uh, that shouldn't have used it that way. They should have done it with like JavaScript or something. But so so uh, we did not. The way I implemented this to begin with was that man, I just have distractions like crazy. We got the bird back there making like dog sounds. My text message is going off. It's just, that was weird. TikTok just automatically popped up and had a dog video where the dog farted. I don't know if you can hear it through this microphone. Oh, there we go. I need to move the microphone. So, yeah, so it's kind of a looks like it's going to be kind of a crazy day. But the way we were doing it before is we were setting the width and height in this view like this. Um, and then that comes in as a signal from here, which is was fine. It was perfectly fine. The problem is, and then this doesn't actually set the width. It actually just, I think it just sets a variable, and then other schemes actually feed off that width. Now it looks like we actually set the width. So that's good, but and it was fine. But the problem is that basically we're doing it on a event hook when it needs to be done. But now I want to, um, and it's an event. Yeah, it's an event hook, life cycle hook, an Angular life cycle hook, and that's after the view is initiated. I update the element. Yeah, I don't really know exactly why I did it that way. I'm sure I did it for a good reason. The problem is that now I want to do it on a resize event, and I don't even know how I set that up. But and what's been happening is basically as I've worked through, and I decided I want to do this new feature, I kind of um, went through the existing code to see if I'm already doing stuff with resizes and how I'm doing it, and if I could just sort of like latch onto that and and enhance that, or if I needed to build from scratch. And I figured out that I needed to build from scratch, and then on top of that, I realized from other places that I am doing the width and height, which there was only one, I'm actually doing it in its component itself. And it was like, well, if I'm going to start doing this for multiple places, I really need to create like a centralized place that every place will use as a reference. So we had to go through that, and it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, should I have done that from the beginning? No. Would in most things in life should it, if you like let's say you know you're going grocery shopping and you need bread for the week, should you get your bread? Yes. But in this situation, I didn't know what the actual problem was going to be. So like it's really bad to create a solution for a problem that you don't have, and then when the problem actually shows itself up, many times you have to undo an existing solution that maybe other all kinds of other things are using. So, it's better to just build the solution when you come across it. And we have a saying in the United States where we'll say, "Oh, I'll cross that bridge when I get there." And I kind of like think it's kind of like let's say you were like a general for an army and you had like 30,000 troops that you were trying to march from point A to point B, and you knew there was a bridge that got you across something, but you don't really know any details about that bridge. Like you you might say, you know what, we have to get across this bridge in 20 minutes, and to get this many people, we're going to have a line of 100 people wide, and they're going to have to, and you can make all the plans you want. But what if when you get to the bridge, you find out that it can only three people wide can get across, and you've set up this whole scheme to get 100 people at wide across. You know what I mean? Like what I'm saying is that, like a lot of times you can't conceive what you don't know what you don't know, and so I didn't know what I didn't know when I started when I knew I was going to have an issue, but I didn't know exactly what all the problems were going to be. And basically, I'm just thinking out loud, right? Like normally when I code, I'm sort of heads down, quietly, just grinding away, and I'm skipping over all. I'm just doing these things, and it's happening lightning fast, and I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. Um, this has been my chance. But oh yeah, and last time we were trying to strongly type this, um, but for some reason, um, um,
I was running into compilation issues. And the reason I'm trying to do that is because I want to pass this stuff into this function. And you couldn't hear any of that because my sound was off. But basically, right now I'm doing this in this as a response, or whenever this is in is the after the view is initialized. But I really want to do it. But I'm gonna need to do it in other cases. So now I need to pull this out. But I don't, because unit testing is such a pain in the butt on these sorts of things. Um, like I would rather pass everything into the unit test. It just makes the unit test a lot easier to execute. Now, a lot of people just call it pure. They're like, oh, it's a pure function. You want pure functions, but I don't know exactly what to do here. To make this code work where I strongly type it, because I think, like right now, I can do this, Annie. Oh, what did I do? Colon ANY, and I'm good. But if I say colon, let's say string. So this is one of my tricks, right? I go string, and it's just like, oh, it still didn't even get it. Okay, so this tells me that this is an element ref, and it's of type any. So if I do this, it still works. But the problem is that I believe the native element is a render. It's called renderer view child, and it's a viz. So we'll look over here and see we have it. The name here. This is a template name. Um, Template something name is viz. So it's a div, right? So we know it's a div. So I wanted to say, okay, this is, um, oh, I see right now it's already upset. Um, but this is an HT, and I think the reason it's upset, this is what I thought yesterday, was that it doesn't know, not all not all element refs have widths and heights or styles. Um, I thought they all had styles, but maybe they don't. But a div element should have a style. So we're saying this is an element ref. Style does not exist yet. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going wrong here, but this should work, but it doesn't. And fortunately, as of maybe the last 2 years, we had a really good, um, easy way to figure these sorts of things out that did not exist before. And it doesn't exist for everybody. Like I remember when I worked for the Defense Logistics Agency, um, they uh, they have all this sort of stuff blocked. So like you couldn't even use this kind of thing. And really, almost every website, everything was blocked. And that was actually one of my main motivations for starting this whole YouTube channel, is because YouTube was not blocked. So if I knew how to do something, I would learn it. I put it on my you in this video in my channel, and then I could reference that channel from my DLA computer, so I could figure out how to do things. But anyways, I'm going to so I have this code and um, seeing a TS compiler error because the um, because Angular says dot style does not exist. In Angular typing, there is a source of the error, not the logic you declared. variable. Okay, so but render is already an HTML div, not okay. So is it saying that I could just say this? The native element is an HTML div. Ah, good catch. So that was easy. So that was the problem, is that basically I moused over here and it said that this is element ref any dot native colon any, but really this, I guess this is for this piece, not for this piece over here. Um, so, and then usually I can go like this and say like number and declare it a number, and it would the the IDE usually tells me no, you can't assign this to a number, but it didn't know what to do. All right, so now we know over here that we're going to accept a native element, which is an HTML div element. And we know we're going to accept a width, which is a number, a number, a number. Put this on its own line so it's just a little easier to read in this format. And then we're going to take a height, which is a nuber. And then we are going to say that if the width of, see, this is kind of a bummer, right? Because I wanted, so I only want to do this if it changes, right? Or I want to know if it changed. Um, and I definitely do not want to be trying to read the signal, because trying to read signals is a real pain in the butt in the unit tests. It's probably not anymore, but for me, I guess it should be, I guess just to original. I don't know. With, I probably would not try this. I probably would not try to get this through a PR. And then, but I mean, original height. The only reason I'm going through this extra sort of step of adding stuff and all that is because I want to is for unit tests. So I mean, it's probably gonna end up being, so basically we're just saying if width is not equal, I guess it's not original, it's current. Current. And then this is new and new. And I will tell you for fact right now that like this is going to save me so much, like renaming things like that is going to save me so much like um, struggle in the future of trying to understand this code, because we're really just, we only want to mark it. It's not, we only want to mark it as changed if uh, if they are different. I have no idea why I would do that. New width equal to current width. And basically, we want change to be equal to true. And we want to do this. And again, like all this like sort of over engineering kind of stuff is all for to make the unit tests easier to understand. And I guess I'm thinking like ahead because I'm like, when I write unit tests, I have this new rule. I want to understand the code line by line, every line of code. This, I think, will be very, very easy to come up to speed on. Um, like, oh, we got a new width, a new height, current width, current height. Okay, so now let's go back to this view. And now I'm going to call. So I want to comment this out. What did I do wrong? Control Z, I guess. Oh, oh. Okay, so this is calling a function render in native element. What does that even do? I'm very curious. Render ID. Oh, okay, so we actually probably need to do that in there as well. Which is kind of a bummer. Okay, so then that is eh, 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 eh. So we want to do this in here too. Because we definitely want it to update the renderer, the actual renderer. Now we do not know. I think I missed a parenthesis. What am I doing wrong now? Oh, it doesn't know. Oh, because it could be undefined. All right, so we messed that up. This definitely should be render view child, not native element. And this is one of these. So that's what we want here. And then we want to copy this down there. Because we need the view child. I mean, we need the actual view child so we can send that to the component visualization service and have it. And since it might be undefined, I guess we can add that in here. I don't know if this is the best way to do this, but we're going to find out. So, and if it's defined, and so now we know it's defined, so the transpiler is happy. If okay, this is kind of a bummer because see, we don't have the service here. So scratch that. This is tricky. All right, let's go all the way back. Going back to here, and then we're going to just say um, update dimensions. So const updated equals this dot update dimensions, and then basically, I don't, okay. So I've got all kinds of things that are running in my head right now. So yeah, that was definitely I don't want to do that either. Okay, so basically I want to update dimensions. So I'm going to say this dot update dimensions. And I want to pass it in width or native element width height and 0 and 0 because it's currently 0, I think. Like at the very beginning it's 0, I'm pretty sure, or something. But it's not, whatever it is, it's not set. So we want to make sure that it's different so that it passes through here. Now, so that's part of it. So theoretically, we can comment this out and it should all work. Well, not this. Not this. Not this. Okay. Now we should be able to comment those two, the setting, the height and the width. So that was a lot of work just to get this. And I, honestly, I went step by step why and how I did it. Um, that is literally probably like, I don't know, probably like 15, 20 seconds of coding without words. It was probably like a 5 minute of talking. So, it's just like, know exactly how I do things. Okay, so that still works, right? So if we don't call this, I don't know what happens. So let's see what happens. Let's go back to here, save it, oh, cancel, save this. All right, and now add viz, and then update. So it still worked. And that makes me think that it used, no, yeah. So, oh, it's not going to work because we need to actually create something. Add viz, update. Yeah, so didn't seem to break anything not copying this, so that was weird. Um, so then it's like, okay, why did I do that? Do I even need to do that? Is that code necessary? I'm going to assume that it is not necessary at the moment. Um, so I'm just going to leave it off. I don't know why we need this stuff, but um, yeah, I just don't even know why this is necessary. So I'm going to leave that off. I do know that I'm going to need to update it though. So, but I don't want code, like you'll never have another better chance to say, wait, this code's not doing anything, let's get rid of it. Um, than now. And then if it does break something on the end-to-end test or something like that, um, then um, you know, we'll know, oh, we just made this change. Um, and we shouldn't. have very many commits at that point, so it shouldn't be that hard. Um, I'm going to leave this conf. Um, does not seem to be. All right. Now, I guess we know we have 100% unit test, so this is already being called. So I guess we don't need to worry about that now. And so it doesn't look like we need this either. So I don't know. We just basically did a whole bunch of nothing. And I think we're going to need this in the future. I hope. It's going to be a bummer if we don't, because then we'll have to. It's going to be very confusing, right? Like we're going to be like, oh wait, this function never even gets called. Why does it not get called? And then yeah. So I don't know, but it looks like that gets called, and now we don't necessarily know if this guy will need to be called whenever this is called, and I guess we'll find out. Um, yeah. So yeah, yeah. All I can do is move on. So this seems to be working. So I guess we're done with that. We did really, in effect, all we did is create a function that we don't ever use and comment out some code that doesn't ever seem to be used. Um, and oh, wait a second. Okay, so this though does get called in other, it gets called, so this is the viz component. So this actually gets called all the time and does not seem to be used anywhere. What happens if we get rid of this one? Okay, yeah, so nothing ever gets rendered. Probably like, yeah. So we definitely need this. And maybe I put that code in there originally in thinking, oh, in the future I'll need this. I don't know. It's weird. Or maybe it was needed and then something has changed since and it's no longer needed. There's just no telling. And this is like we've hardly built anything in this and it's already there's already code there that's like, what does this even do? Like that's crazy. It's crazy that we're already to that point. Um, right. So I think the next thing is so we do have a way to update the dimensions apparently. Um, so basically, I think we need like something that listens for this change and creates an event when the browser um, changes. So as soon as I'm done with this feature, I'm going to do the upgrade to 21 because 21, I believe, came out a couple days ago. And it's kind of cool because they did some stuff with forms. Um, so I- it would be good to it's good because we haven't actually started the forms yet. So, it'll be good to do that. Um, I don't know exactly if we should. Yeah, who knows? Let's not worry about that now, though. Because the problem is that there have been some new things that I've used, and it's just been like, man, I'm not happy that I used that. It's like kind of want to, and they're very quick to like recognize that they made a mistake and then abandon it. So it's almost like you want to give the technology a little bit of time to to bake before you start using it. But anyway, so now we need an event. Um, so and that event needs to be probably in our new service, viewport service. And basically, probably we need to set up the event listener in our constructor. All right, so to write some code that will respond to the viewport size being resized. I have an Angular service that I want to use it in. All right, so it looks like okay. So it's saying that I should create a service, just a standalone service that its only reason for existing is for resize. So like viewport might be a more like there are more maybe more things in viewport than um than resize like here. Just something that did I misspell that? H yes. I think I was way more tired yesterday than I thought I was. All right. Um, so it wants me to create a brand new thing. Um, okay, and see the I believe this provided in root, like one of the side effects of provided in root is that it becomes like a singleton that everything is sharing as opposed to like anything that uses it is sharing as opposed to every one of them getting their own version um, of the object. So, anyways, I feel like this is probably a good idea just to put resize in its own component completely, in its own service completely, and then use it over here. So, it's so wild that they're like encouraging you to use this way, even though it knows that I have an injectable provided in root. Read-only viewport resize pipe starts with immediately map with. So, okay, so basically they're saying to use, so all of this is for this one, basically 2 lines of code to create a whole. I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth on whether I want to do it that way or not. The current viewport size. That's kind of cool though. Buffer size 1, ref count true. Apparently this will prevent it from resubscribing once it's been subscribed. Yeah, I don't really understand all that, but I'm just going to copy this. And we are going to use RxJS. Okay, so this question might be a really dumb question, but this uses RxJS. Is there a signals way? Oh, see, I probably want to go with the signals way, mostly because I want to learn that. But at this point, it's probably more uh, constant in effect. See, then I wonder, like, is there a reason to have like another layer? Like, okay, so let's say we do put this in its own service. Then does this other use like exposing this from the viewport service, does that even make any sense at all? Or would it make more sense for everything just to use the new service? And then if we're just going to use the new service, well, why not just put it in this service? It's a very circular argument, but it is nice to have it in a different service because um, this is just nice and clean and done. Like it's all done. Um, mm, Man, I just don't even know. All right, so the argument right now is should I put this in its own service? And then, yeah, I think I should put it in its own service. And then I don't think I should like then add this extra layer of, um, I think everything should just use this directly, not go through this viewport service. W Windows viewport service. So this is going to be our W viewport resize service. So basically, now I kind of revisiting my old decision, right? My old decision was to pull the height and width into this, and the reason I wanted to do that was because it was starting to become clear that other pieces of the code are going to need the height and the width. From wherever was using this, like I can't even remember where we set it up to use this, but whatever was using this, the height and the width was going to be different than like this component. When the component resizes, when the component, when the viewport gets resized, this specific component needs to resize the whole thing. That whatever that logic was and wherever that was happening is different than whatever is using it now. But I wanted them to use the same consistent place because I fully expect at some point that I will need to start altering the screen in a very specific way for some reason, right? Like I'll be like, oh, everything needs to slide down 20 pixels or something. And so when that happens, I want a centralized place for it to happen. And it's not bad. It's not a like whether you do it in place or whether you do it through a service, there's nothing wrong with doing it in a service. Um, like getting the width and the height from a service. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, there's no downside to it. So anyways, but I do think that yeah, resize is different. It should be its own standalone. And since I went with W for Windows, View, Port, Service, I'm going to say W for Windows, View, Port, Resize Service. And so I'm going to go in my packages file. And as per usual, this is actually a really good time to close all of the other tabs. And port resize. I kind of want to stop here, but since I have this code, I want to copy it over. And so I need to do this. So npm run s viewport resize. Now, I always do these, I always run these out of the package in this way because in my mind, this ensures this might just be like an old thing that you used to have to do, but you don't need to do anymore. Um, in my mind, it ensures that I use the libraries that are in my node modules and not some globally installed library or something like that. So I've just really always done it this way and it's never gone wrong. It's always been a good thing. So, all right, so we have our new viewport resize service. And so now I want to copy this code and put it in here and just make sure that it, I guess I don't want to, okay, I guess I don't want to copy it all. So I definitely want to copy this. And I want to replace that line that I already have. And then we already have provided in root here. So we already have this line of code. And then add injectable and then export class resize. So mine's a little bit different, but we are going to want to implement on destroy. So I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to copy everything from here to the end of the code. And I'm going to replace what, I think I copied too much. Yeah, I copied. Did I copy too much? No, I did not. All right. I'm going to copy the, gosh, I keep grabbing too much. Oh, golly. Just nothing is working right today. Okay, so before the constructor, we do this. All right, and then keep a reference so we can remove. Okay, I don't even know this. What is this? Keep a reference so that we can remove the later. Remove listener. I guess that'll come into play a little later. And never read. Okay, so we must do something in the constructor. Okay, so here is where we get rid of that error because we do this right in the constructor. Okay, and then it's very upset that I don't have this made yet. Okay, so that went away. Remove listener. I don't know why. Um, so it's saying that this is not a, so it's saying that that's not this kind of function, that that is not what we just created. Um, so I kind of like how that's done, so I'm just going to say const and then string, see if it helps. This used to help. Okay, yeah. And now I think it's going to say type void is not. So it's saying that this is a void. Not a, I think this is what it was telling me. Hmm. It's saying that is not a function. We did not create a function. We actually created a void, which I think is not, that doesn't seem right because this should have returned a function. With window add. Okay, I'm going to ask about that. Let me move that, but let's take care of this other on destroy part. And this is going to make this thing go way up here because it's complaining that on destroy. And then it's saying this. Okay, so this is saying that, hey, that exists. I don't know why you're checking for it. This on resize bind. So it's telling me that I don't even need to do this because it's definitely going to exist. And I think that makes sense. Now, this is concerning, right? Because, okay, so I am seeing this. It's making the IDE complain. Says that the remove listener makes. And that actually does make sense. It is void. Yeah, add event listener is a function. I don't think add event listener returns a function. Add event listener, you pass it a function to run. So I do actually, yeah, the compiler's right. Returns void storing its result into remove listener and later trying to call. It's causing the error. Store the handler function reference so you can pass it to some function. Okay. Um, okay, so yeah, it's like admitting that it gave me shitty code. So that is very upsetting. I mean, that's a pain in the butt. Avoid storing its result into remove listener. The fix to store the handler function reference. So the fix is to store the handler function reference so you can pass it to the same function to remove event listener or abort controller signal. Below are two clean, correct signal-based implications that you can copy. Okay, so we still have the private and what the heck? Okay, so this is very different. Okay, so apparently something was it just gave me a really bad set of code, which is not unusual at all. Um, and it's gotten worse, right? Like I feel like ChatGPT used to be pretty rock solid, and with time, it definitely seems to be degrading. Um, and I think that that is probably because everything keeps changing under it. See, like ChatGPT looks at everything and all available information, and then it gives you suggestions based on all available information. But as time goes on, the what's right and wrong changes, and ChatGPT starts getting more and more bad information. And it's not that it was good at the right time, but then it becomes bad. And yeah, this was really, really bad. Um, all right, so let's start from the bottom. ng on destroy. All right, so it's happy with that. Remove on resize. Constructor, we're going to add on resize. This is very different. And then we're going to create our on resize. I guess we'll get rid of this one. I think they're the same, but I'm not sure. And now it's decided it wants to do it on, it wants us to put this code before the constructor. Not that it makes any difference, but I guess we want that. So we created a private variable that is a function. And basically it sets the width. So we have a function. I didn't delete enough brackets. And then we say, hey, if this thing gets deleted, if this whole service gets deleted for some reason, so let's say we botch up and we start using like, or let's just say we create individual services or something like that. I don't know. I don't know why it would ever get deleted, but if it does, we go ahead and remove the event listener, which I think is a very good idea. So I think we're in sync, and this is how things can get really screwed up because we kind of half copied it from one broken thing to another thing. But I think that's nice and clean. Yeah, it all makes sense to me. And then private AC abort controller. Hmm. Yeah, I feel like that is a lot harder to understand than the first one. All right. So I think that's right. Now it's saying that the way I would use it. Okay, so now how would I use A? I think A is easier to understand. So we're gonna fill like we're basically gonna see what the arguments were. Version. Okay, ng on destroy, constructor. I think this all looks good. Viewport. Yeah, so okay, how to use it from anywhere. Now, wherever we want to listen for it, we will do an effect, basically. We'll import this in here and then we'll um, listen for the resize. So I guess we should do that. I really want to freaking end this video, um, but this is going to be so much easier right now. So basically, we know that in our viz, I don't think we want to do this in our viz component though. We want to do it in our layout. We only want to do this in our update layout. The other two layouts, we are already handling resizing. Um, like in the custom layout, resizing is handled in a totally different way. It's got other rules and stuff, and it's handled. And I'm actually afraid to check this, but yeah, see, so it's still working. But the only place that we really need this is in our app update layout. And basically, we want to, damn it, we might not even need that change, that other set of changes. Now I think about it, because once we set the width and height, oh no, because that's only happening on event. We're not updating. Um, we're not doing handling changes in there, so we will need to add that. Um, but basically over here, so we're already doing, and see that that's one of the things I don't really like about um, signals is like all of this code is going to run on the resizes, not just like when the resize happens, it's also going to calculate the ratio, which is actually we will want that because that will actually change. Set calculation. We're going to set the route. We're going to get the renderer ID, which I guess is good. And then we're going to process the visualization. So, I don't think there's a way in effects and signals to determine what signal caused whatever you're listening for. Oh, so I have the wrong thing. So this thing we want to import this guy here. I'm guessing I'm already injecting a bunch of stuff. So yeah, there we go. So in some circumstances, the component will want to resize itself, will want to resize, but then in other circumstances, it doesn't. So that logic shouldn't live in the component. It should live in wherever knows. But it would be the sort of a natural thing to want to do that. Um, so we got our blue. That looks right. And now in our effect, want to use it. That's neat. I think this is called destructuring this little thing where you create the little brackets, and we called it viewport resize service, not resize. So what we're hoping, and the last thing I'm going to check is that when we do resize, let's go F12. Oh, look at that. So it's getting this like event like crazy. So it's good to know that, but yeah, so now we know that it changed. So we are going to want to pass in the new width and height to our component, right? So we have this component and it's up here and it gets a viewer width and a viewer height. So we're going to update that. And I don't think that's going to work all by itself because, um, and actually we're already passing it in. So we can just say this dot viewer width. Oh, and yeah, the order is going to matter. We're going to want to do it before we try to set up the aspect ratios and stuff. So viewer width is equal to width. And this dot viewer height is equal to height. And I think what we're going to see is we're actually going to see the aspect ratio and all that get calculated properly, but the image won't be updated. Yeah, see, our aspect ratio is correct, but the actual image didn't update. And that's because um, the only time we ever update it is on after the component is rendered. So we only do it on this after view of it, but we probably will need to call, we'll have to listen for changes, which, gosh darn it, I don't know if I remember. I think that's kind of a pain in the butt to unit test. I think we have to create like a whole mock, which I think we might already be doing that. Um, yeah, we probably already are actually because we are listening for changes. But we'll actually, it's interesting. So I can't, okay, so we have this and this is a signal and it changes. Oh, so actually, I think, oh man, this is gonna be cool. I think all we have to do is create an effect. Um, and the effect will automatically listen for the viz width and the viz height changes if we tell it to. So, um, and then we can change, we can call update dimensions, and we don't even call update dimensions. And within update dimensions, we can call this, right? Do we need to do that? Yeah. Yeah, because this is a thing that changes the height. Well, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Maybe like literally all we want to do is call update dimensions and not even call this here and do this in update of dimensions. I don't know. Anyways, we can work through that tomorrow. But basically, we are now updating the width and the height, which is in fact fixing this form easily and quickly without really us having to do anything, but it's not redrawing the component. So I think once that's done, though, then the whole feature, the new feature is um, is done. So once the new feature is done, we'll do a commit, and then we'll do the unit testing, get it back up to 100%, which I don't think is going to be too hard, and then we'll do the end-to-end testing, making sure everything's cool, and write a new end-to-end test so that we capture this feature. And if this feature ever breaks in the future, we'll know instantly. And then we'll do our upgrade, which it's going to be such a pleasure having end-to-end testing once that's done because for that because once we have end-to-end testing for that, um, we'll yeah, once the end-to-end test, or no, once the upgrade is updated, we can just run the end-to-end test to make sure that nothing broke from a feature perspective. Um, like Angular does a great job making sure that where you'll know that nothing broke from a compiling and transpiling and all that. But it doesn't do a great job, and you can't really blame it. But like of some sort of custom feature that you've built out, like it doesn't necessarily do a great job of capturing that, and that's where end-to-end testing fits in. But that is that. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.